But right now, let's get back to Paul Ryan. We're talking about he's the new pick for Mitt Romney, and he's talking a lot about his philosophy in Ayn Rand. He's running away from it now, but here is what he had to say earlier. This is what he said in 2005 about Ayn Rand.
I just want to speak to you a little bit about Ayn Rand and what she meant to me in my life and the fight we're engaged here in Congress. I grew up on Ayn Rand. That's what I tell people. Everybody does their soul searching and trying to find out who they are and what they believe, and you learn about yourself. I grew up reading Ayn Rand, and it taught me quite a bit about who I am and what my value systems are and what my beliefs are.
So I just want to stop and just say he found out what his value systems are. His values were his belief systems. He found that out by reading Ayn Rand, who, let's remember, was an ardent atheist, a Russian atheist. Okay, yes. So that's who is setting his moral foundation. That's where he's getting it from, a Russian atheist. Okay.
It inspired me so much that it's required reading in my office for all my interns and my staff. We start with Atlas Shrugged. People tell me I need to start with Fountainhead, then go to Atlas Shrugged. There's a big debate about that. We go to Fountainhead, but then we move on, and we require Mises and Hayek as well. But the reason I got involved in public service, by and large, if I had to credit one thinker, one person, it would be Ayn Rand. And the fight we are in here, make no mistake about it, is a fight of individualism versus collectivism.
Wow.
And
yes.
Walk that one back, Paul.
Yeah, see, if he hadn't discovered Ayn Rand, Paul might have grown up thinking that it's a bad thing to be a greedy prick.
Right. That was a close one.
It really was. Phew.
And it is required reading for everybody on his staff, so nobody gets the idea that he gives a two shits about other people.
Right. And in the context of that, is his budget makes perfect sense. It is a total Ayn Rand budget of like, forget the people who can't take care of themselves.
She actually has a quote where she said, no one has ever given me a good reason why you're supposed to be your brother's keeper.
Yeah,
that's a direct quote from her.
Yeah,
that's directly against Jesus.
That makes me want to go have a drink with her. I mean, I just want to be with her more.
There's an interview with her that you can find on YouTube that Mike Wallace did in the 50s, and your jaw will drop.
Oh, I have to see this.
Well,
can I just ask a question? And you know, I've never read an Ayn Rand book, but I know of The Fountainhead.
I saw the movie.
I've seen the movie.
I saw the movie, The Fountainhead, and I read the book review of Atlas Shrugged. I don't read books.
Okay, but these are two books, okay? These are two books that he has based his entire value system on. Two books. He's an avid reader, and he read two books.
For a Republican, that is avid.
Yeah.
So for a Republican, that's called a library.
That's being Poindexter.
Well, I don't have video of this, but at the end of that speech in 2005, he ended it by saying, "Look, what I'm trying to say is we've all got to not get together and not help each other. In fact, I hate all you people, all your guts, just for sitting together in a group and listening."
Isn't the fact that he's on a campaign ticket now, isn't that collectivism? Like,
yeah, no kidding.
The Republican Party is a group of people.
Yeah,
right.
and he's depending on someone else, Mitt Romney, to take him further up the ladder. I mean,
See, what he really needs to be is a monarch. I think that he should be a king.
Yes,
you know, not in a
or dictator probably would
or
be
dictator,
more,
right?
More
not certainly not a part of a democracy.
How about just a King Dick?
Yeah, well, I think he is that now,
already,
but yeah.
So here he is in 2009, in the talking about the financial crisis that America was in at that time, the whole world economy. Actually, here's what he had to say about it then.
Ayn Rand were here today, I think she would do a great job in showing us just how wrong what government is doing is. Not the quantitative analysis, not the new numbers, but the morality of what is wrong with what government is doing today.
So there he goes. So her again, morality. You base your morality on a Russian atheist who thinks the family unit is not necessary,
and who everything is based on selfishness.
Yes,
she says
greetings,
this
fellow sociopaths.
In this Mike Wallace interview, she says it unabashedly.
But Frank, don't you go ahead, Kathy?
No, I was just going to say. So basically, that's completely opposite what so many of these people in the Republican Party talk about is quote unquote family values, whatever the hell that means.
Religious values too.
Yeah, and so he's now basically for everybody, each person for him
Every
or
man
herself.
for himself. Right.
We're all a bunch of Colombian orphans.
I mean, he's
Right.
he's trying to.
We're screwed.
He's trying to walk back from all this, and he's talking about Ayn Rand here like a deadhead talking about Jerry Garcia.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
I mean, he's obviously a fanatical fan of. He's not just making casual comments about her here. He's obviously a fanatical.
Oh, yeah,
makes
I
everybody
think-
in his office has to read
I
her.
think he probably has his wife put on one of those Ayn Rand wigs at night.
And speaking the German accent.
Come on, honey. Come on. Put on that straight wig with the bang.
Come on,
She gave him
baby.
Fountainhead.
Yes.
Come on, baby. Put on that little nightie and then take Social Security behind my back. Did she take Social Security and Medicare at the end of her life? I'm pretty sure
absolutely
Ayn
she
Rand
did.
I heard she
Yes.
did, yes.
Yes.
She did it as a goof.
Let me just say,
Her and Ron Paul.
Is there any individual who didn't take Social Security or Medicare? I don't think so.
No, everybody takes
Yeah.
it. Right. So it's good to hear Paul Ryan talk about where his morality comes from, how Ayn Rand can fix everything now. It's reassuring to know that the guy running to be vice president has the political maturity of a wealthy college jock during rush week.
The guy's deep. He's deep.
The guy worships Ayn Rand, but he signed TARP, even though it literally went against everything he believes. Everything he believes, TARP went against it, and it goes against how he thinks that a society should function best without any sort of interventionism and capitalism. So what actually happened was he believed he was creating a bigger problem when he voted for TARP, according to his own philosophy.
Right.
But he did. He voted for it anyway because he knew it would help him with other Republicans in Congress. So that makes him a dick.
Yes, and if right now we started to try to and spent the rest of our lives trying to add to the deficit, we will never do as much as he has done.
He has done himself
to add to our debt and to balloon the budget.
The two unfunded wars and the books tax cuts were the biggest things.
Yeah.
So now he's the vice presidential candidate. So now all these right wing crazy Christians, they have to have him in lockstep. You can't worship. That's against Christianity. You can't do that. We're not about that. Even though we live that, we live the values of Ayn Rand, not the values of the Bible and Jesus Christ.
Right.
The right-wing
Well, some of
Christians
them wanted to change the name of the Bible to Jesus Shrugged.
So here's what he had to say. They sat him down after he got the vice presidential nod, and here's what he had to say.
I later in life learned about what her philosophy was. It's called objectivism. It's something I completely disagree with. It's an atheistic
Later.
Oh, wow.
Completely disagree with. It was just a youthful indiscretion, like when he was 40.
Later in life, last
God.
Tuesday, I realized after worshiping her for 30 years.
When was that last thing said?
That's just now when he got picked to be vice president.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Want to hear it again? I'd love to hear it again.
I later in life learned about what her philosophy was. It's called objectivism. It's something I completely disagree with.
I learned what her philosophy. What the hell were you learning about before? Really? Her knitting croquet work?
Hey, if you want to work in my office and help me pass legislation, please read this book that I completely disagree with.
This is what not to believe. I told them, don't believe this, but everyone has to read it.
It's required. He said required reading in his office. This is something you're required to read. This thing I completely disagree with the philosophy of.
As he got a little older, he realized what her philosophy was. What else were you talking about the whole time?
Yeah.
He liked her font.
It's just like nice work, Steph. That's Steph Zamorano from Comedy and Everything Else. That's right, the Fountainhead. Well, he said, he completely rejected her philosophy and adopted the philosophy of lying about rejecting her philosophy.
Well, the thing is I think he only read the classic comics illustrated version of the Fountainhead, and that didn't have all of the objectives.
Well, now, ever since he's been picked for Brie Pre, he's told everyone on his staff to quit reading the Fountainhead, don't see the film, and avoid all movies starring Gary Cooper.
It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.